Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Today, don't go away. Today is a bright day outside. Sun is shining brightly in the office. We are going to continue. Last class we were talking about how to see the devotees. You know the devotees you don't like to see, those ones. Yes, we were talking about those devotees. The ones, some of the person said, the kind of people you love to hate. Now that doesn't sound right, but sometimes we don't like what devotees do. And we had a long discussion about it. And we were discussing the Apichet Suduracharo verse. You remember that verse? We had discussed it. We had read what Prabhupada said. We had read a little bit of the commentary. Or I don't think we had read the commentaries. And then subsequently, Vijay Lakshmi sent me something Bhaktivinoda Thakur had said about this topic, about seeing the devotees. And then there was a letter I quoted. Well, I didn't quote it, but I paraphrased it. And Tanya sent me that letter. So we're going to read that letter. And so we have a lot to read. And we as you remember, we've been talking about the topic of leaving your body, and you may be wondering, how did we get on this topic? It came up as a question, and I can't remember what the context was that caused this question to be asked, but it got asked. So, there it is. Hare Krishna. So, my keyboard's sitting on the ground, and my mic stand's coming on my birthday. Wow. Not my mic stand, my keyboard stand. And I don't know, I got lazy. We have a piano inside. Last night I was playing the piano, and I found I could actually sing in the evening. It was amazing. And Marco's going to help. We're going to do he's going to help me produce some music. And I did some demos, and my voice actually worked. That was amazing. I thought I actually lost it, because it seems in the morning when I sing, I croak. So I'm just looking for those quotes, and then we'll chant maybe a cappella today, if that's okay with you. I have to bring up the very quotes that I just said we're going to be reading, as unprepared as I am right now, but it will come up very quickly. And hold on, one more. There's 3. Okay. A cappella. Well, you want me to play the guitar? I don't know. It's just like, I feel so awkward when I can't sing. Okay. We'll try it again. Maybe today's the day. My voice actually works in the morning. It might work. Okay, I'll get the guitar, because I know. You want to be entertained. Devotees are deprived of entertainment, isn't it? Any kind of entertainment they like. So hold on one second. We have to venture into the next group. Radha Madhava Jaya Madhava Kunja Vihari Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Okay, let's try it today. I have so many microphones. Today I have another microphone. This is the microphone I use when I do videos. So I like this microphone. It was actually, I bought it, this microphone was to record acoustic guitar. And then I discovered you could use it, could actually use it for voice if you were far enough away. So you're getting it today. It's your lucky day. I hope it sounds better. Let's try it again. Radha. I have a new way of doing this, new style. Radha Madhava Kunjabi Hari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabi Hari Gopi Jana Bhalava Girivaradari Yeah, it's the morning. Gopi Jana Bhalava Girivaradari Shoranandana Bhajajana Ranjana Jashodhanandana Bhajajana Ranjana Shoranandana Bhajajana Ranjana Shoranandana Bhajajana Ranjana Jamana Tira Manachari Jamana Tira Manachari Radha Madhava Kunjabi Hari Radha Madhava Kunjabi Hari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradha Dari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Shoranandana Bhajajana Ranjana Shoranandana Bhajajana Ranjana Shoranandana Bhajajana Ranjana Shoranandana Brajajana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Banachari Jamuna Tira Banachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabi Hari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabi Hari Shishi Radha Madhava Ki Jai Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Radha Madhava Tava Kunjabi Hari. Okay, we did it almost. The voice is almost working. Not quite. It was definitely working last night. Working really well, like it's supposed to. Hare Krishna. Okay. So, translators. The document Apichet Siddharachara, we had read Prabhupada's purport, but we had not read the commentary by Vishwanath Chakravarti and I think Thakur and Sridhar Swami. So we're going to read that. That's page 2. It starts on page 2. And we're having this amazingly weird weather here in Alachua, where it's like we get, every few days we get winter weather in May. It gets cold at night. It's really strange. But my wife loves it. And it's not so humid. So that's good. Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Shaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirvisesa Sanyavari Paschatya Dasatarine. So we are reading from commentary on, move my computer. This is the commentary on the same verse we were reading. Just to remind you, we were reading 9:30 yesterday. Oh, it wasn't yesterday, it was the day before yesterday. So these commentaries are on 9:30 and 31. Apichet suduracharo bhajate man ananyabhak sadar eva samantavya samyak vivastito hisa. That's the verse we discussed Wednesday. And the verse that follows, Chipam bhavati dharmat ma shashvas chantim negachchati konteya pratijanihi name bhakta pranashyati. Even if a person of very bad behavior worships me with undivided devotion, he has to be thought of as saintly, for he has the proper resolution. In other words, determination. He quickly becomes righteous and attains lasting peace. O son of Kunti, declare it boldly that no devotee of mine is ever lost. Hare Krishna. You will never be lost. That'd be a nice song. Krishna Kanta likes to write songs. So I think Krishna Kanta, she's like, oh, Mahatma Prabhu is playing guitar. Yes. She wants to play with me, I think. Krishna Kanta, you'll never be lost. That would be a good song. That'll be the name of the song. No devotee of mine is ever lost. Never lost, you'll never be lost. Never ever lost. Never lost, no, never lost. That's the chorus. Okay. Something like that. In these two verses, the extent of bhakti's power to award salvation are feelingly expressed by the connoisseur of love, Sri Krishna. Krishna says here that the sinner, Sudurachara, worshipping him exclusively, Ananyabhak, is definitely a saint despite his bad character, owing to his resignation, vyavasitaha, to the service worship of Krishna. That seems like a contradiction, the sinner, doesn't it? Did you pick up on that? I'll read that again. It seems like this doesn't seem to make sense. Sri Krishna here says that the sinner worshipping him, and then my immediately thought was that people would think, if he's a sinner, why is he worshipping Krishna? Sinners, that doesn't go together. If he's a sinner, but he's worshipping Krishna despite his bad character, because he's determined, and then you think, well, if he's a sinner and has bad character, why would he be determined to serve Krishna? It seems like it's a contradiction, doesn't it? This is an interesting contradiction, because it's Kali Yuga. These contradictions exist. You have this person determined to serve Krishna, as like very determined, but he's very sinful. That doesn't seem to make sense. It seems to go against our philosophy. If he's determined, then that means he's going to be a good devotee, right? So here, this is interesting. And the reason this comes up, it's also explained later in the Bhagavatam, that And we all know this because we all have bodies and we're trying to be devotees. So we know this contradiction of like the devotee and a demon living in the same body. So sometimes it happens that a devotee may do something which is really bad. And it was an accident. He didn't mean to do it, but as they say in Christianity, the devil made me do it, or we could say, Maya made me do it. But actually, what we're really saying is, I'm a conditioned soul. I'm habituated to sin, and I didn't mean to do it, but I did it, and I regret it, and I'll never do it again, or I will try never to do it again. I want to resolve never to do it again. What I want is pure bhakti, but I just did something really bad, really stupid, immoral, sudarachara, very bad. So that's what this verse is talking about. It's talking about someone who's a devotee, but sometimes acts like a non-devotee due to weakness or past conditioning. So that's why it said that the sinner has ananyabhak, determination exclusively on Krishna. Like, that didn't seem to make sense. No, he committed a sin, but it wasn't intentional. It was accidental. And that happens. We all, as we use the phrase in America, we all mess up sometimes. If you're married, you mess up a lot. Yes. I mean, before you were married, you didn't know you may not know what mess up means, but after you get married, your wife will tell you, you messed up. She may not use those words, but you'll get it. So mess up means you did something you shouldn't have done. And this is due to conditioning, habit. We're coming from these habits and sometimes we slip. So that's what's being referred to. So now I want to read it again after explaining that. Maybe it will resonate differently. In these two verses, the extent of bhakti's power to award salvation are feelingly expressed by the connoisseur of love, Sri Krishna. Krishna says here that the sinner, Sudaracharaha, worshipping him exclusively, Ananyabhak, is definitely a saint, Sadhur Eva, despite his bad character. Why is he a saint? Owing to his resignation, Vyavasitaha, to the service worship of Krishna. Why is he a saint? Because the real person is devoted to Krishna. That other person that slipped, that was a temporary blast from the past, you could say. It was some conditioning from the past had come to the present, and now there's a problem. But his main business is devotional service. His main business is not Maya. That's why he's considered a saint, because his main existence is for Krishna, but he just slipped. Like, sometimes you walk and you slip. You've walked hundreds of miles in your life, and one day you slip. So that doesn't mean you're a slippery walker. It means one day you slipped. That's not your, it's funny, because I've seen this. I think I mentioned this yesterday or the day before. We see that a devotee do years and years of amazing service, and sometimes if they make one mistake, it's like, that mistake is like, that's all you see now. Well, what happened to the other 50 years? What other 50 years? Do you know what he just did? Now, of course, if what he just did was really, really, really bad, yeah, I can understand that. But sometimes it's not so bad. Do you remember the example I gave? Oh, okay, let's do it. It's time. Oh, but I need a piece of paper. Hold on. Hold on to your sikas. I'll be right back. Don't let your sikas go. Oh, okay, I have to get a piece of white paper. I have to find, I think, if we're lucky, I'll find one. I guess we're lucky. Okay, now I have to do something. I have a whole house full of pens that don't work. I've got pens coming out of my ears. It's an American expression. when you have a lot. I have pens coming out of my ears. So many, and none of them work. It's kind of like 16 rounds and none of them work. Prabhu, I chant 64 rounds a day. Really, yeah, and none of them work. You've been there, done that, right? Hare Krishna. Every day, 16 rounds. And look at me, I'm still a mess. None of them work. Okay, here's a piece of paper. It's white. See that paper? I'm going to hold it up. What do you see? What do you see when you're looking at that paper? Tell me. You definitely don't see me. What do you see? On that big white piece of paper, what do you see? Okay, tell me what you see. Can someone tell me? What do you see? Tell me what you see. There's a big white piece of paper, a point. Krishna Karshini saw nothing. She wasn't wearing her glasses. Go get your glasses, Krishna Karshini. A black dot. Oh, you see a black dot, yeah. Just in case Krishna Karshini didn't see that. Of course, maybe Krishna Karshini saw it, but she knows the answer to this quiz, so she's not going to say it. Okay, so some of you said we saw a dot. Okay, so the dot is compared to the fault of a person. Hare Krishna. And the rest of the paper is white, and the rest of the paper is compared to the good qualities of that person. So you all of you who said I see the black spot were focused on the black spot, although the whole sheet was white. So isn't it amazing how when we focus on the black spot in someone, we don't see the white sheet around them? Isn't that amazing? What did you see? Nobody said, well, I said, what do you see? You said a black spot. You didn't say, I see a big white paper and there's a little black spot on it. You said, I see a black spot. Have you ever seen in yourself or in others when some amazing devotee does something wrong, all of a sudden that's all anybody could talk about is what he did wrong, although he's done 1,000,008 things right? Interesting, isn't it? So, when you look at a devotee, don't look at the dot, look at the white paper. Yes? So, Krishna here is saying, the dot's not a problem. Look at the white paper. He's devoted to me. He just has a little dot. So what? It's only one dot, and that dot is not what he does every day. He does the white paper. Krishna Karshini knew this. That's why she said, I don't see anything. No, you didn't win, Krishna Karshini. You're supposed to say, I saw the white paper. If you didn't see anything, you mean you didn't see his good qualities or his bad qualities. If you saw I see a big white paper and a little dot, no big deal. This is so interesting, this exercise, isn't it? Hare Krishna. So that's this was the chapter 9, verse 30 exercise. Here's all this devotional service, and there's a little dot. Don't worry about the dot. Okay. Today's class, Satyarupa, is entitled, Don't Worry About the Dot. Nobody's going to know what any of these classes are about by these titles. But they also write books like that, don't they? Like the title and you can't figure out what it means. It's like, don't worry about the dot. What does that mean? You don't need dots at the end of sentences? What? You don't need to wear gopi dots? What does it mean? Don't worry about the dot. Yeah. Not chapter 9, verse 30. Don't worry, that's the don't worry about the dot verse. Hare Krishna. So, now, Krishna says, if you're focused on the dot, Krishna says, I don't like you. Here, let me read this. Of course. Not exactly. So we're going to continue reading about the dot. For emphasis, the word mantavya is quoted. He is to be thought of as saintly, is spoken as if it were a law with undesirable consequences that arrest those who disregard it. So, here's the devotee, here's all his service, and Krishna says, if this is what you see, then you're breaking the law, because I order you to see this. He's a sadhu. I order you not to see this. We have another example, and that's the moon. And there's a little spot on the moon, but the moon is big and effulgent. So that's what this verse means, that you want to see the essence of the devotee, his sincerity, his determination, his love for Krishna. That's what you want to see. And the spot will be there for sure. And sometimes the spot will be a little bigger or a few spots. But Krishna is saying, no, look at their bhakti. So let's read, we'll continue reading and discussing this. And just to emphasize the last point, I don't know if it was clear, Krishna is saying, he's actually saying, he's not saying you should see the bhakti, he's saying, I order you to see the bhakti. And if you don't, then you're going against my instruction. That's what he's saying. I'm telling you, see the bhakti. And if you don't, you're disobeying me because I'm telling you. This is my order. Mantavya. This is what I consider should be done. This is what you should do. If you don't do it, you're going against me. And obviously, you don't want to go against Krishna. And saying, but, there's a dot. There's a dot. But how can you tell me not to see the dot? The dot's there. Don't see the dot. I told you, don't focus on the dot. Focus on the white sheet. That's my order. If you don't do that, you're disobeying me. Wow, that's what this verse is saying. Krishna is saying, if you focus on the dot, you're disobeying me. Hare Krishna. Did you know that? Is what this verse means? That's what it means. Okay, let's continue reading. Don't focus on the dot. No. Don't focus on the dot. So tomorrow, Krishna Kanta Gopalini is going to sing us some songs, right? Well, she can't. We'd have to bring her onto the Facebook as another presenter so she could sing her 2 new hits. Never lost, never lost, never, never, ever lost. And her other new hit, don't focus on the dot. No. Okay. One may get the impression from this statement that bhakti, even in its immature stage of practice, is in some sense antinomian. Antinomian is what we were talking about before, that you could be sinful and indefinitely, unlimitedly sinful, indefinitely forgiven. In other words, like the 7th offense, the holy name, you take advantage of this verse, thinking Krishna says, even if a devotee falls, he's saintly, and I'm a devotee, so I can fall. So why struggle to follow the principles? Krishna will forgive. Krishna sees my heart. He knows I want to be a devotee. A few bottles of beer, a wine. Does beer come in bottles? Yeah, it does. In Poland, they have Guru beer. It's in a bottle. Did you know that? Guru beer. We were going to take a picture with it and say, I only drink Guru beer. This way I'm not breaking the principles. So, so I can be sinful and forgiven, but that's not what it means. So if anybody got the impression, I like this verse, it means even though I'm sinful, I'm a sadhu. It's not what it means. So that's what the word antinomian means. Krishna appears to be saying that his devotees are not bound by moral obligation. Understandably, these verses have been explained in numerous ways to qualify what Krishna is saying, so that one cannot cite them to support bad character in the name of bhakti. However, in evoking these explanations, one must be careful not to undermine the power of bhakti, which is the spirit of the text. So, this verse is talking to us about seeing another devotee. How should we see them? Well, if he's surrendered, if he's remorseful, if he does something wrong, still consider him a saint, because his heart is in the right place. He's giving his life to Krishna. Occasionally, he may do something wrong, but he rectifies himself. He's remorseful. He's not happy about it. A lot of times, something interesting happens. We have this saying in America, he's a work in progress. In other words, he's bad, but he's working on himself. And I have this amazing experience that some of you know, but it's worth discussing. Back, a long time ago, 34 years ago, probably. Yeah, it was 34 years ago. So I was working very closely with one leader in our movement, and then one day he left, just like, I'm gone, nice knowing you. Like, whoa, that was like everything came crashing down. And I was so upset because everything was crashing in my hands and the hands of a few of us. He just left, and his disciples were obviously traumatized. I was really, really upset. And it developed into a lot of resentment within me. And then later I met him, and I found out that when he left, he was feeling himself very ashamed, very regretful, very much in need of improvement. So even though he did something which could be considered abominable, while he was doing it, he knew that it wasn't the best thing, and he knew it would have been better he didn't do it, but he just had to do it. He didn't have the strength. He couldn't have continued as he was doing. He wouldn't have done well. So I was upset with him, but I didn't know that he was upset with himself as well. So sometimes you'll look at a devotee and say, look what that devotee's doing. But sometimes the devotee, he knows. He also knows. I'm doing this. I wish I wasn't doing it. Let me, there's too much light here. Hold on to your sikas. And if you don't have a sika, hold on to your ponytail. And if you don't have a ponytail, I don't know what to hold on to. Hold on to something. Yeah, so light. You know why it's so light? I think the earth has not seen such clear skies, someone was saying, in like 40 years. Something like that. Like, my daughter was telling me something somewhere. They say, she said, like, somewhere in northern India, they're able to, like, see Mount Everest for the first time in 40 years because it's so clear. Isn't that amazing? So, Hare Krishna. What was I saying? I got so excited I forgot what I was saying. Yes. So this verse is telling us how you should see another devotee if you see a fault. And so you should think, okay, that's one little spot on a big white sheet, not a big deal. And so what's being explained here is, but you can't reverse it, and you look at yourself and say, well, a few beers here and there, what's the big deal? It's just a spot. Krishna says, if you kind of, if you've done a lot in your life, then no problem. So Oh yeah. So the point I was making is sometimes when you look at another person, they're going through this whole remorse act, if you could call it that. And they know what they did, and they know what they did is wrong. And you're looking at them and thinking, how could you do that? That's so bad. And they're thinking the same thing themselves. They're telling themselves, how could I do that? It was so bad. I wish I'd never done that. I don't know what's wrong with me. And they're going through the dark night of the soul. And you've got your little hammer and you're smashing them. But you may not know. They're already on the ground. They already understand what they've done. So that's another aspect of this verse. But the other point is that it's being said, don't anything known as popular Christianity. I'm not perfect, so, do your best and don't worry about it. But no, there are standards. So to do something wrong and justify it is not what spiritual life is about. To try your best, to be sincere, and regretful if you fail and get back up on your feet and do better. Yeah, that's what spiritual life is about. There's I have a disciple, and he just wrote me a letter. I just read this morning, not a letter, an email, asking about what it means to be liberated and how you get liberated and how family members of devotees become liberated and what does all that mean. And sometimes it's said if you give a set of Srimad Bhagavatams away on a certain day, that you'll be liberated and this and that. And so, as we said before, it's not like you go through all the scriptures and like, here, I found the verse. Even though you've done this, that, if you do this, then you'll be liberated. It's not like that. That's not the way you do bhakti. It's not like, okay, it's like you're looking for, like a lawyer looks for the loophole in the law, isn't it? Like sometimes someone wins a case and everybody knows they're guilty because there's a loophole in the law, and the lawyer, as unscrupulous as he may be, he's being paid to defend this guy, even though this guy is guilty. And everyone and their mother knows he's guilty, but he finds a loophole in the law, and then the judge can't do anything because that's the law. This evidence is not valid because it was on a tape, but it wasn't, the tape recorder was just running, but there was no one in the room when he said it, and, so it's not reliable evidence. I think that's true. I'm not sure. But for this example, saying that's true, that's the loophole. So in spiritual life, it's not like you're looking for a loophole. How can I get out of the material world and be degraded, fallen, rationalized, compromised? That's not what Krishna's talking about. Krishna's talking about someone who actually feels bad that they've committed a sin. They're not thinking, I've done something horrible, but it's okay because I'm saved. They're thinking, I did something horrible, and that means I shouldn't have done this. This is wrong. Krishna, please forgive me. I don't want to do this again. That's what's being said. So that's for us. That's how we understand it. And when we see another person, I think a really good lesson is don't underestimate the fact that people may be regretful. Sometimes you see people doing something wrong. And a lot of times my experience is, although nobody likes it, if you actually talk to them, they'll tell you, I know this is wrong. I know I shouldn't do it, but I'm weak. I need help. I don't know what to do. Sometimes it's addictive behavior. And they can't resolve it on their own. That's just the way it is. So it's nice to remember that sometimes people themselves are regretful and you don't even know it. You just see what they're doing, but inside they're thinking, yeah, this is really bad and I shouldn't have done it. And so this devotee who really upset me by leaving all his responsibilities crashing on my head, I saw him, so it was 86 he left, and I think I calculated I saw him 23 years later. Yeah, that sounds about right. 2009 or something. So I saw him 23 years later. And you know what he said when he saw me? He said, "Please forgive me for what I've done." And then I understood, when he said that, I understood at that point, he was regretful from the moment he did it. But I had the hammer on him. How could you do that? That's so bad. Boom, boom. You know, I wanted to like tie him up and throw darts at him or something. And the whole time he's regretful. So that was a big lesson for me. That don't assume when someone does something wrong, they don't feel guilt and shame. They don't understand what they're doing. Of course, sometimes they don't. That's true. But specifically, in this verse, Krishna is saying that a devotee who feels that way, and we may not even know if they feel that way, but if a devotee feels that way, then you should understand that's part of what it means to be a saint, that sometimes saints do something wrong. Believe it or not, sometimes saints do something wrong. All you saints out there, you've probably done something wrong. But a saint is regretful. And when he does something wrong, the other point that's being made here is that he doesn't give up his resolve to be a devotee. He keeps going on. And sometimes when you do something wrong, it can give you more resolve. Have you ever had that experience? Like you do something wrong and you think, wow, this was really bad, this was really stupid, I shouldn't have done that. And then you become more resolved after the mistake. I compromised my principles, and I was compromising and I wasn't aware of it, and it resulted in me doing something really bad. And now I'm rectifying myself. So sometimes it works that way. So let's read on. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur emphasizes the power of bhakti, citing largely with the reasoning that the devotee, owing to his devotion, is to be considered above the law. In such a generous rendering, what is stressed is the ideal of the devotee, that which he will become, as opposed to judging him by his present condition, much less his past. What a beautiful thought. His devotional ideal, which represents his Swarup Lakshana, in other words, his intrinsic spiritual qualities. This is his ideal. This is what he's striving for. This is what's in his heart. I want to be like this. So I want to develop my original spiritual qualities. His devotional ideal, which represents his Swarup Lakshana, or principal characteristic, overrides his marginal characteristic, bad behavior. So in other words, he's saying, okay, what you see when you're looking at this devotee is bad behavior. But what you may not know is what's going on in the devotee's mind is his aspiration to behave properly, to develop his inherent spiritual nature, all good qualities. So that's what he's meditating on, but you're seeing something else. So when Vishwanath Chakravarti is saying to see this devotee as a saint, you can also say what's being said is see this devotee in the potential of what he will become. If he continues with his bhakti, every day he's chanting and so forth, he's going to become saintly someday, somehow. And at least that's what he wants, and that's what he's thinking. And again, it goes back to the point that there's a lot of regret when we do something wrong. But not everybody knows we're regretful. Unless we announce it, how would anybody know? Right? So there's another beautiful thought is when you're dealing with people, it really helps them if you see them in terms of what they can become rather than what they are. Because otherwise, if you see somebody as they are, you might say, you're never going to become anything. You're good for nothing. As we would sometimes sarcastically say, yeah, he's a good for nothing. What are you good for? Nothing. That's my new name, good for nothing. Yeah, that sounds like the name of some rap artist, right? Good for nothing. I'm good for nothing. Something like that, yeah. So instead of seeing people as good for nothing, Prabhupada said everyone's good for something. Krishna has given everyone something, so we're all good for something. So see people in terms of their potential. And if you see people in terms of their potential, it has an amazing effect on them, even if you don't say anything. If you say something, you really, I think you have potential in this area. That certainly is inspiring to people. But even if you don't say anything, the fact is it affects them. It supports them on a subtle psychological level. And it works the opposite way. If you denigrate someone just in your mind without saying it, they get affected by it. For sure. For sure. That story I've told many times about this class. I believe it was in New York. And they tested the students. And then they divided the students by the slow learners, the average, and the more intelligent, or the better, quicker learners. And then they gave one teacher the average students, and they did an experiment because they wanted to see how the class would differ if the teacher thought these were the best students. So they lied. They told a white lie, and they said, "You've got the best students in the school." And that's how she treated them. And the interesting thing is, when they did the final test, that class did better than the actual most intelligent students. Isn't that interesting? So just by, of course, you can say she was acting with them, but it's also mental. You support people. So that's just a side point to this verse. If you see people in terms of their words, yeah, you know him, he's going to end up like this. It's kind of like you just cursed him to end up like that. It's like your mental energy is like directing him to fall he's going to fall in the ditch. I know it. I can just tell. Just look at this guy. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's definitely going to fall in the ditch. Rather than pray, don't fall in the ditch. You're better than that. I know you can avoid the ditch. You've got it in you to avoid the ditch. I can see you avoiding I can see you walking around the ditch. It sounds like, well, you're saying, okay, Mahatma Prabhu, where's the Shastra for that? Where's the verse? But just trust me. Maybe you have experience of this, but if you have confidence in someone within you, they're going to do better than if within you lack confidence. You think, he's an idiot. He always does something wrong. He always fails. You could actually make somebody fail just by thinking. Believe it or else. Or else I won't like you if you don't believe it. Yes. Okay, we will get to your comments soon, but we're on a roll. We're rolling. I want to get a sufficient amount read, and then we'll take your questions, which, a couple of classes was mostly questions. We didn't get to read so much. So this is good. Okay. How can one be undeviating in the sense of bhajate mam, ananya bhak, which means worship me with one focus, and ananyas chintayanta mam, found respectfully in verses 30 and 22, and at the same time misbehave? Yeah. So how can he be focused on Krishna? How can he, we discussed this already, be resolute in his determination and misbehave? To avoid this difficulty, Sridhar Swami explains Ananya Bhak as devotion to Krishna alone, and not to any other god or goddess. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur adds to this, unencumbered by any practice other than devotion. In other words, he's a devotee of Krishna. That's what he is. But sometimes he slips. But so when you say, but look he's a sadhu, his mind is fixed, and you'll say, it doesn't looks like he's more fixed on the women than he is on Krishna. No, but he's been a devotee for like 30 years. Some devotees, this is really interesting. I don't know if you've seen this. Some devotees, for lack of a better word, are very fallen. And although they try, and they're so sincere, they're just so conditioned. They're like, Prabhu, I'm just going to never be a good devotee. I'm so fallen, I'm so this. It's true. Some people are so this or that. But also they're really sincere. It's this interesting combination. So in this age, Kali Yuga, you get these like extremely sincere, dedicated, humble. Oh Prabhu, I'm so fallen. I'm so low. I wish I could be a devotee like you. I'm just like a piece of dirt in Krishna's, entourage. But they're like so sweet. They're so sincere. They're so dedicated, and they're so messed up at the same time. Have you seen that? And you're saying, sounds like you're describing me. I wasn't intending to describe you. If that is you, that's just coincidental. But I'm sure we've all seen that, like highly, highly addicted to Maya. He's addicted to Maya. Don't get addicted to Maya. Yeah, we've seen that, right? Highly addicted to Maya. Prabhu, what's your problem? I'm highly addicted to Maya. Really? I can't break the habit. But I want to break the habit, and so sincere. So we see that. And so these verses are telling us this is the sincerity. Don't focus on the little dot of his trouble. Let's look at all this sincerity around the trouble. Of course, if the trouble is like driving everybody crazy, it's hard to avoid that. But that's not really what's described in this verse. It's being described general misbehavior, not like he's a serial killer, a serial rapist, and like that. That's a different topic. It is so he's saying here, he doesn't want, he's not trying to get anything from Krishna, liberation or material, and he's not trying to get power or riches. So that in that sense he's resolute in his bhakti. He's just has some trouble sometimes. So let's read on. Due to being in the present tense, the words, so now we're going to the next verse, Chipram Bhavati Dharmatma, in verse 31 are understood by Vishwanath Chakravarti to indicate the immediate or continued attainment of righteous status. In other words, that verse is very soon he becomes righteous. So, so that, should we sing a song? A blues song. It's time, the real blues. The real blues are so addicted to Maya. I can't give it up. I've tried. That's the real blues. I just want Krishna, but it's so hard. I always end up with Maya. Yeah, that's the Maya blues, right? Another song for Krishna content. Well, she's going to do a concert, right? Based on my classes. I just want Krishna, and all I get is Maya. Whoa, I just want Krishna, and all I get is Maya. And I try, but I'm just so addicted to Maya. Yeah, that's the blues. That's the blues in the material world. I want Krishna. The Maya blues. I want Krishna. I just get Maya. So that's what's being described in this verse. This devotee is sincere. I want Krishna, and I like. You ever slip? You're just walking and you slip and fall down, and then you think, how did that happen? You can't figure out what happened, or you You like twist your ankle, you sprain your... I've sprained my ankle twice. I'm good at ankle spraining. If you want any advice how to sprain your ankle, just send me an email and I'll tell you how to do it. I've done it twice. And then I cracked my hip. So I'm good at slipping and falling and twisting. Not as good as some people, but pretty good. So, has that ever happened to you? You're like walking somewhere and something happens and you like slip or your knee gives out or you have no idea how that happened, or you're riding your bike. That happened to me and I sprained my knee. I was riding a bike and just like put on the brakes, and before I knew it, I was like on the ground limping. I could hardly get up. And I had sprained my knee, tore my meniscus and sprained my knee in 2 places. That was interesting. And when I got up, I was like, for days I was trying to figure out, how did that happen? So I think for a lot of devotees, when that happens, it's like, how did that happen? It's like it just came out of nowhere. So sometimes it's like that. It just comes, you don't even know. It's not like I have this problem, this desire. It just comes, it just happens. So, we have to understand that when we're looking at another devotee. It's not all of this stuff is premeditated. It's just, it happens. That stuff, that stuff in the toilet, well, that happens. But chit happens also. If you're Krishna conscious, then chit happens. Conscious, Krishna consciousness. That happens. But sometimes the other stuff happens and you don't even know how it happened or why it happened. But that's part of being a conditioned soul. That happens when you're a conditioned soul. Unintentionally, bad things happen. Okay. Let's read on. We prefer... Okay. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that should one agree with the above understanding on the condition that the devotee in question actually does become righteous, giving up his bad behavior, this conditional acceptance of his words invokes Krishna's wrath. In other words, he's saying, this devotee will become righteous, but you don't have to think, okay, well, Krishna says see him as a saint. Well, I'll wait till he becomes righteous. Then I'll see him as a saint. That's not what it means. The next verse says, very soon he'll become righteous. So you're like, okay, let's wait. Let's, sit around and, I'll wait. And when he walks in as a righteous saint, then I'll say, okay. So he did something in the past that was bad. No problem. He's a saint. What this is saying is, no, you don't wait for that. You see that he's on the path, and he will become saintly. That's the point. Chipam bhavati dharmatma. Very soon he'll become dharmatma. He'll become saintly, religious. He's on the path. He's sincere. It's going to happen very soon. How fast is very soon? In eternity, very soon could be just a few lifetimes. Nothing much. That's not much. So it doesn't have to be tomorrow. Very soon doesn't mean tomorrow. It could mean anytime. Anytime soon. If you look at eternity, then, everything's soon. And, in that regard, in that context. Okay. The thought that someone will, and he's saying, if you don't think that way, Krishna's not going to like you. Krishna's going to be upset. Because Krishna's saying, I told you, see him as a saint. But Krishna, look at him. Krishna said, he's going to be a saint. He's on his way. He's sincere. But he's not a saint yet. But he's not a saint yet. I told you, see him as a saint. He's on his way. See him as what he's going to be, not what he is right now. That's what he's saying. And Krishna's saying, see him as he's going to be. And we're saying, but, and Krishna is saying, you're making me mad right now. You're upsetting me. This is my devotee. He's a saint. Don't misjudge him. The thought that someone will take such a position makes Krishna say, Konteya pratijanihi name bhakta pranashyati, O son of Kunti, declare it boldly that no devotee of mine is ever lost. Thus, even if the devotee is not seen to rectify himself, still he is to be considered saintly. Krishna orders Arjuna to declare this fact publicly. Krishna is taking care of him. He'll be okay. Because his devotee's promise will never be broken, as Krishna sees to this even more than upholding his own promises. So Krishna is saying, this devotee is sincere, that's his qualification, I'll take care of him. It's all done now, it's just a matter of time. That's the idea. We just have we just have 2 more paragraphs. Let's read them and then we'll take questions. Although Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's comments are on the liberal side of the pendulum, it should be noted that the wayward devotee he sees in these verses is always remorseful for his misbehavior. Even if he cannot give up his wrongdoing, he continues to condemn himself for it. Thus, even Chakravarti Thakur does not give a license for flouting the moral law in the name of devotion. In other words, if I do something and I'm remorseful, then obviously I recognize that what I did was wrong. If I'm not remorseful, then I think, everybody does it, and what's the big deal, and, Krishna understands, and don't bother me. He's saying the devotee's not thinking like that. He's thinking, no, what I did is wrong, and I'm remorseful, and I don't want to say repent, but I want to reinstate myself in the proper position. Okay, 1 more paragraph. Api chet can also mean even if. Even if a devotee does something improper in the name of devotion, such as deceiving another to involve them in Krishna's service, he should be considered saintly. Or if a devotee, just chant Hare Krishna, you don't have to shave your head. Is that deception? We would always tell people. But we were young devotees. We wanted to make everyone a devotee. And of course the men would shave their head. And they'd all come with long hair and say, let's just chant Hare Krishna, you don't have to shave your head. And we knew that if they chanted Hare Krishna long enough, one day they're going to come to the temple and say, can you shave my head? It's kind of funny. We were lying to them. No, maybe not lying, but maybe yes, a little bit. If a devotee comes from a background steeped in vice, his lack of moral culture may carry over into his new devotional life. For this, he should not be condemned because his heart is in the right place. In this way, it is possible to make less of the nature of the transgression Krishna describes, as it is possible to make more of bhakti's dearness to Krishna and its resultant efficacy. Krishna can love, it's like your mother can love you even though you're whatever you are. Krishna loves the sincerity. I've so many times have made this point. I don't think I could make it enough, that the most important thing in bhakti is your sincerity. Much more than material qualification. It's not that we minimize external proper behavior and character and other qualifications. That's not the point. But we don't always have that at our disposal. But sincerity is something anybody can manifest. You don't need a particular kind of body or a culture or a background to manifest sincerity. So that's why bhakti is so beautiful, because anyone who's sincere can get it, despite other disqualifications. And as I was saying before, that devotee you see that's so sincere but so addicted to Maya, that's an example of that. And so that devotee is, Krishna. We shouldn't condemn the devotee. We may have to restrict him in some ways because maybe he's setting a bad example or disturbing people. That could be there. But from our position, we see, he's sincere. Someday he'll be victorious. Someday he'll become pure. So, his lack of moral culture may carry over into his new devotional life. For this, he should not be condemned because his heart is in the right place. In this way, it is possible to make less of the nature of the transgression Krishna describes, as it is possible to make more of Bhakta's dearness to Krishna and its resultant efficacy. Having glorified even those on the path of devotion who appear to have fallen from the path itself, Krishna next makes it clear that the path of devotion can deliver those who were born in less opportune circumstances for spiritual practice owing to their previous lives. Let me read that again. It is clear that the path of devotion can deliver those who are born in less opportune circumstances for spiritual practice owing to their previous life's actions. So the next verse, Krishna is saying, anybody, wherever their social status is, whatever position they're in, they can become Krishna conscious. So, now it's time to read your questions and comments. So, I'm going to go back somewhere to the top. I just have to go. You have to bear with me. I have to go to the beginning, and in case I miss anything, hello to all of you. I don't always recognize you're here, but I see your name, and I love you all. So don't feel bad if I don't mention your name, but I see it. Rachel says, Hare Krishna. Could you be so kind and tell us what Burijan Prabhu said about japa? Oh yeah, I forgot to ask him. That was on my, I have a to-do list, and I always call my to-do list the things I forget to do list. Or the things I don't have time to do list. Yeah, I put that on my I don't have time to do list. But it will get done. I was actually thinking about it this morning. In fact, what I'm going to do right now, just so it happens, is I'm going to open up my email and I'm going to just address an email to him. So in that way, at least when I go to my email, I'll finish writing the letter. And that's guaranteed, okay? So the letter has been addressed to him. Now I just have to write it. Okay, it's getting off my things that I have no time to do list onto my what I have time to do. Okay. Thank you for that reminder. And just as a special mention, that if you ever write me or send a message and I don't write back, if what you said requires a reply and I didn't write back, it's possible it got lost in the pile of emails and WhatsApp messages and Facebook messages and WeChat from China. Occasionally that happens, that I get so many, and that if I don't get through them all in one day or the second day, if I don't get, by the third day, they're like lost. It's just the nature of when I get too many. Okay, Bhaktivinoda says, Bhakti Makula is Bhaktivinoda, all the way from Scotland, boy. You like the bar in Scotland? Yeah, if Bhaktivinoda speaks to you, and you're an American, you really have to listen. That Scottish accent is sometimes hard. All I can see is the corner of a picture frame. It would be nice to see Mahatma's face. Hare Krishna. Now you can see my face all you want. Full frame. Okay. So we all saw the dot. Easy to see a black dot because it's white. Yeah, we all saw the dot. You all saw the black spot. You all failed the test. There's the test. You all failed. What did you see? You're supposed to say, I see a big, 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 big white sheet with a little dot. That's what you were supposed to say. And so many of you said, when I said, what do you see? You said, I see a dot. Hare Krishna. And that dot is what we see, the fault in others. But Krishna Karshani and Param already knew this. So you have been disqualified from the competition because you already knew the answer. So I'm sure I told you this before. So you already knew the answer. What if, Krishna Karshani says, what if there are more dots? No, all the faults are contained in that one little dot. They're all in there. And my sister is here. Everybody say hello. She is in Los Angeles. At least the air in Los Angeles now is clean from what I've seen. The pictures, the sky is blue, which is nice. I heard even in Delhi, it's like you can actually see, someone more than 3 feet away from you, which is unusual for Delhi. Kamini has said, it's like they're talking about integrating. They're saying they're going to gradually let us out. And I'm starting to think, no, don't let us out. Because if you let us out, we're going to ruin everything. It's better just keep everybody locked up. It's so much nicer. There's so little traffic. And why do you want to let us out? Because if you let us out, we're going to destroy everything again. Isn't it? Don't you feel like that? Like gradually, well, we have to let you out because the economy is really suffering. Okay, we understand that, but there's this side of me, it's like, this is going to be like the most depressing day in the last 6 weeks is when they let people out and everything goes back to normal, because normal is so messed up and it's so nice now. I've never seen the sky so clear and the birds so happy. It's just like everything is so nice. As I always said that, if you want to really help the earth, you want to be eco-friendly, the best possible thing you could do is commit suicide, because it's the human society that's messing it up. If we all commit suicide, the planet will be fine. The problem is we're all alive. That's the problem. What's the biggest ecological problem you see, Mahatma Prabhu? That we're all alive. That's the problem. If we all kill ourselves, hey, no more ecological problems. The animals will be dancing in joy. The animals will be really happy. No one to eat them, no one to kill them, no one to hunt them, no one to take their space, no one to pollute their rivers and air. Yeah. Of course, it's not the real ecological problem. It's a joke, but we're the number one cause. Humans are human beings, the number one cause of ecological problems. Okay. You were saying that sometimes the devotee is himself aware that he had once done something wrong. You reminded me of what I was saying. Yeah, like I was saying, you're upset with someone and you're thinking, what's wrong with him? Look what he did. But he's thinking the same thing. What's wrong with me? Look what I did. And you don't know that. Okay, maybe not every time, but often. Krishna Karshani says, what if a devotee is not remorseful and is rationalizing what he or she did? Then they're going to have to come back and take another body so they learn their lesson. And until they, if he's continually doing something wrong, then it's having a negative effect. And if he doesn't realize it's wrong and become remorseful, he's going to have to come back and realize it. As I've often said, why waste time coming back when you can get it right this time? Like, why spend time taking a class over? Just apply yourself. So, that's my answer. It's not my curse. I don't want to curse anybody to have to take birth again, but that's how it works. If you fail the class, you come back. So if you don't, If you have some huge problem that's keeping you away from Krishna and you don't resolve it, then you're going to have to come back. Why do you come back? Because you need more time to solve the problem. You didn't solve it yet. So, you didn't pass the test. Okay, go back in the class. Take it over again. That's the idea. The broadcast has been paused. It should resume slightly. Okay. We should be mindful that Krishna is talking about accidental fall down, not to be confused with a scheduled fall down. Oh, yeah. That's an interesting word, Gopalananda. We generally say premeditated, but I like scheduled. I'm scheduling a fall down for next Thursday at about 10 o'clock. Really? What are you going to do? I'm going to do this. I schedule this fall down, yeah. So someone might say, but I need to schedule fall downs because, if I don't, I'll go crazy and I might, destroy somebody or something. I had a friend once, he got so angry, he punched a hole in the wall. So I have to schedule, my date with chocolate candy and chocolate ice cream. Otherwise, I might punch a hole in the wall. Okay, but yeah. So the point is premeditated versus accidental. Accidental is always forgiven. It's always different than premeditated or pre-scheduled. That is such a funny word. I love it. That could be another song, pre-scheduled fall downs. I got my pre-scheduled fall downs Thursday at 10. There was this guy, you remember Kamini? I don't know, maybe you were a young kid. My sister will know for sure. You remember this guy, Tiny Tim? Any of you know Tiny Tim? And he would sing these songs. As far as I remember, he'd sing these songs and he was super eccentric. And he'd play a ukulele or something. He'd sing these really funny songs. That would be a funny song, Gopal. I've got a scheduled fall down Thursday at 10. I'm going to do this and that, wow. Yeah. So the point is, yes, Krishna's talking about accidental fall down, not premeditated, not put on your schedule in advance. Yes. Definitely. But of course, somebody may have an accidental fall down and you may think, no, it wasn't accidental. It was in his schedule. So, that also could be subject to question, how you see it yourself. Because you may not like that devotee, so you just think, well, everything he does is bad. It's not possible he could have an accident fall down. He'd have to be premeditated. So, but anyway, the point is well taken. Krishna Karshani says, nowadays people, including devotees, are struggling with psychological issues. Some of those issues are making a person who is influenced by them not being aware of what is good and what is bad. I am wondering how Krishna sees such bad behavior made by mentally imbalanced devotees. Well, the next time I see him, I'll ask him what he thinks about it. Krishna sees the heart of the devotee, sees the sincerity, sees whatever love, sees whatever affection the devotee has. That's what Krishna sees. And, if someone has the problems that you're describing that are getting in the way of his bhakti, it's probably some reaction. There's something really bad that happened to them in the past. And it's unfortunate, and it's coming out as an obstacle to their bhakti. Now, you could say there is no obstacle to bhakti if you perform it properly and you're sincere. So that's true also. There's no doubt about that. That is definitely a fact. So, ultimately that devotee is going to be successful, but ultimately is not a timeline. We don't know, unless we can't give a date. But it's some kind of karmic thing, so it's just unfortunate. An unfortunate karmic reality, and what can be done? It's just the way it is. And maybe at some point that devotee will understand. And maybe at some point they won't. And maybe then they'll have to come back again to understand. It's unfortunate and it's strange because I think what Krishna Karshani is saying, she's saying, sometimes it's so obvious to everybody that there's a problem, but somehow the devotee is thinking everyone else has a problem but themselves. And they don't see it, and it doesn't seem like they'll ever see it. And that's, also it could be their choice. Their ego, won't let them see it. They don't want to see it. It may not just be an emotional problem. It may be ego. Ego may be involved also. And ultimately they have desire. And ultimately, in their sincere attempts to be Krishna conscious, they'll realize more and more. Gopalananda says, one who meditates on the bad qualities of others, those bad qualities never leave one's heart, and those who constantly see the good qualities of others, those good qualities soon find a place in them. Beautiful. Loving it, yeah. Or as we discussed yesterday, maybe you don't have those bad qualities, but after you fault find someone, then they start taking up residence in your heart. So that's there also. Either you have them and they won't leave you because you continually see them in others, or you don't have them and now you do because you're focused on them and others, and now they're starting to invade your being. Yes. Fault finding is really, it's like there's certain things in the material world that represent very strong forms of conditioning. One of them is pride. Pride is the reason we're here. You want to get out of the material world, you want to go back to Krishna. Well, pride is that's a good place to start, to work on. And criticism is a manifestation of pride. Appreciation is a manifestation of humility. So, hello, anybody home? Did you hear what I just said? Yeah. So, when we are criticizing, then sirens should go off. It's like, you're never going to get out of the material world if you just criticize. That's what got you here. That's what keeps you here. Hello, this is ABC spirituality. And it's so simple, we just don't even see it, isn't it? It's so simple. Prabhupada said, this is one of the classic Prabhupads, of another great t-shirt. It's so simple, you can miss it. That is it's like what we say, duh. It's so simple, you can miss it. Those are the duh statements. It's like, you come up with your profound statement after you've lived for, 80 years. And the 8-year-olds are saying, duh. It took you 80 years to figure that out. I knew that the day I came out of the womb. So there's a lot of things like that are so simple and nobody gets it. So criticism is pride. Pride is what got you here. Pride is what will keep you here. What got you here is going to keep you here. That's another good t-shirt. Though it requires some explanation. But what got you here is going to keep you here. And what's going to get you out of here is not what got you here. What's going to get you out of here is the opposite of what got you here. So pride got you here. Humility is going to get you out of here. Right? So everyone remember, criticism is a manifestation of pride. So it's dangerous. It's toxic. It's just like a rope binding us to this world. Say something good about somebody. You want to become Krishna conscious. Say something good about somebody. Even if it hurts. Sometimes it hurts, right? Okay, let's get more light in here so you can see how beautiful I am. Devotees are all beautiful, aren't they? You know, Prabhupada was so beautiful. Everybody said Prabhupada was so beautiful. We were all like the age of his grandchildren. To us, he was like this elderly person that most of us never even were around people of that age. It was so beautiful. Prabhupada was so beautiful. So there's a story, and these two devotees were fighting. They just really didn't like one another. And so the temple president got them together and he said, say something good about the other devotee. And one devotee's like, It just couldn't say anything. He said, say something, anything. And that devotee, who he was supposed to glorify, was a good mridanga player. So say something. He's a good mridanga player. That was all you got out of him. That was as much as you could get. Okay, he's a good mridanga player. That's it. Nothing else. Nothing else? Nah, nothing. So sometimes it's really hard to say something good about somebody. And you know what? If you're in that position where you can't say something good about somebody, you're in trouble. That's all I can say. You got a problem. And it's not a little one. It's called pride. So just be aware of that. Let the sirens go off, because that's when you cannot see the good in someone, that's a problem. Don't think it's a problem with it. I can't see the good in them because there isn't any. Whereas the joke goes, why are you finding fault with me? I'm not finding fault. I don't have to find them. They're just like right out in the open. I can see them. You're just exposing your faults to the world. There's no question of finding them. So, we can't think that way. We have to think, something's wrong with me. All I see is the faults. I can't say anything good. I don't want to say anything good. It's like it makes me feel bad to say something good. Then sirens should go off in our head. This is a problem with me, not with them. There's always people who do bad things. So if you want to find fault with people, there's like 8 billion of them out there. No problem. But if you want to see the good in others, there's also 8 billion of them to see the good in. So if you want to get out of what got you here was pride, and it's going to keep you here, but it's not going to get you out of here. What gets you out of here is the opposite of pride. That's humility. So if you connect criticism with pride, then it all starts to make sense. Or not make sense, but it all becomes more clear. Okay, the t-shirt. So addicted to Maya. Or don't be addicted to Maya. Are you addicted to Maya? Give up your addiction to Maya. Another t-shirt. Oh, yes, ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys. God, what are they going to say now? They're going to have to, I don't know if they... What if you're transgender, or what if you're not a girl or a boy? Is it not political? Is it not politically correct to say ladies and gentlemen? Do you have to? I'm not up on it. I'm totally serious. I'm not making fun. I just was wondering. Ladies and gentlemen, can you all remember? And we need volunteers also to go. Like if you could each volunteer for like one class, go through it and get all the t-shirts out of the class and send them to me, because there's a devotee who wants to design the t-shirts, and I said, well, I have to collect everything, and I think we have about 10 t-shirts from the last week's classes. So if you remember them and you can write them down, like Krishna Priya, just send this to me in an email. Don't send me Facebook or WhatsApp, because I don't look at that on my computer. It's on my phone, and I need to get it on my computer. So if you could all remember, or just write me if you want to volunteer, then you can pick a class. I think it all started I actually officially went crazy about 10 days ago, wasn't it? Like before that, I was pretty normal. And then all of a sudden, I don't know what happened. Oh, I know what happened. I was watching Wisdom of the Sages, Raghunath Riot, and I watched about 3 or 4 of them. And I said, this is really entertaining. And just subconsciously it affected me, and I started kind of channeling him in some way. So I think that was, I don't know, 10 days or 11 or 12 days ago, I had a metamorphosis. And all of a sudden, the t-shirt mantras were just flying off my tongue like no tomorrow. So if you're willing to go through those lectures, like one of you go through one of them, that would be nice. If you want to volunteer, just let me know. And so then we can coordinate. Or I'll arrange, maybe Krishna, Karshana, you can coordinate. You just give one to each person. But if you can send me the mantras, I'll add them. We have a page of about 30 t-shirt mantras right now. So we pick the best ones. So that'll be good. And whatever you remember from any class, please send it to me. I don't remember anything. I just talk. When I finish talking, I can't remember anything I said. If you ask me, what did you say in that class? I'll say, I have absolutely no idea what I said. The only way I'll remember is I have to listen to the recording. Otherwise, you're expecting me to remember, and I know this sounds funny. It's like, you'll probably remember more than I will remember. That's the nature of speaking. Things come to you. It's a creative process. And then after it comes out, it's like, okay, that just came to me. It wasn't mine. So I don't remember everything. When I slipped in Mayapur next to Ganga, I slipped twice. We almost died witnessing it. And please don't do it again. Oh yeah, we're talking about slipping. I slipped twice. Heart attack. Yeah, I slipped twice and I hurt my shoulder, and it was so weird. I slipped, and Tiana was behind me, and her husband said later, she said, she was looking at you. She was thinking, you're going to slip. It's all her fault. I'm innocent. And I fell just like straight on the mud, and I hit myself in two spots, exact spots on my body that are the two sorest spots on my body. I hit bullseye on both of them. That was really interesting. And it still hurts from that day. And that was a sore spot on my... Getting old is so nice. You know why? Because the older you get, the more you want to leave your body. And that's the whole thing, Just you got to be detached. So getting old is like one of the best medicines for detachment, because if you get old enough and someone says, where does it hurt? And you just say, anywhere you look, it hurts. That's kind of what happens when you get, it's like you're 30, you get a little sore here or there. Well, what happens when you get older? Where does it hurt? Oh. Take your pick. Take your pick. Anywhere you look, it hurts. Not that bad. I'm not that bad yet. I still stretch a little, but do some yoga. That helps. But sometimes it's like that. On a bad day, it's anywhere you look. I would try to write some tunes. I was thinking of one from the other day. You will be a fish if swimming is all you wish. If you think it will be bliss, you may end up in a sandwich. Oh, these would be good songs. Yeah. You should check out Tiny Tim. You will be a bear if sleeping is all that you care. You will get a cave and 6 months for it. Yeah, okay. See, she's a songwriter. Okay. So you just convinced me. I was thinking of buying something, and this just convinced me. I can buy a little mixer. It's a USB mixer. So see, I have this microphone here. This microphone is a Russian microphone. I bought this in another yuga to record my guitar, but it's actually quite good on voices, and uses a video directional mic. And so I can put this, if I have a little mixer, I can put this mic into the mixer. I can probably do it with what I'm using now. But I can put my phone or computer and play music for it, and I can like turn my mic off and turn the music, and you could all hear it. And if Krishna, if she sends me her songs, then we could hear her songs that way. I don't know if it would exactly work. Yeah, but the mixer would be easier. So I was thinking maybe of getting that. Because I need it also when my wife and I do online courses. We have to be in separate rooms, so we need separate mics and all that. So that would be, I was thinking, that would be interesting. Krishna Karshini says, if we do something wrong and we feel guilty, and guilt is negative feeling and may make us feel discouraged, how to make guilt positive feeling and forgive ourselves and feel encouraged? Because I think, this is just me, this is the only thing that makes sense to me, is I think Krishna created guilt to improve us. He didn't create guilt to make us feel horrible. He created guilt as a gauge. Oh, you feel guilty. That means you did something wrong. Okay, let's go back to the drawing board. What did you do wrong? Why do you feel guilty? Because this is something you know you shouldn't have done. That's where the feeling comes from. So then we say, okay, I feel guilty. Let's see what I did wrong. Okay, yeah, this was, I was kind of thinking maybe I shouldn't do it, but I didn't know. And I thought maybe it's okay. And maybe, it's not that bad. But now that I did it, I feel guilty, which then indicates, yeah, I shouldn't have done it. It was wrong. We've all felt that. We've all been there. That's how I would use guilt. If guilt is used to make you feel bad, I would suspect you already feel bad about yourself. And so it wasn't the guilt that made you feel bad. It just added to the bad you already feel about yourself. Isn't it? Now, that could be one reason. You just feel bad about yourself, and now you did something wrong, so you just feel worse about yourself. So that becomes a problem in rectifying yourself, because guilt should be used as a rectifier to make you feel bad about what you did, not feel bad about who you are. Now, if you continually make the same mistake over and over and over and over and over, and you don't feel bad, and you're not somewhat depressed, then I would say something's wrong with you. You should feel that way. So there is a healthy kind of depression. Like, okay, I keep doing the same thing. It's wrong, and I do it over and over again. I should feel bad about that. I should feel frustrated. I should feel so bad that I do something. So those are the ways that you can use guilt to be healthy. But if you feel too guilty, it could be connected with how you already feel about yourself. And so it's just a catalyst. It's adding insult to injury. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Tiny Tim was American, so not in my field of awareness, having grown up in Europe. Oh, Kamaniya, you're so unfortunate. You miss Tiny Tim. Half your life is wasted. Okay, what I will do for all of you, so you don't have to all get polluted by Tiny Tim, I will go and check him out. Now you're all going to want to check out Tiny Tim, because don't check out Tiny. I'm telling you, do not check out Tiny Tim. Now I know for sure you're going to check him out. If you want to get someone to do something, just tell them don't do it. It's the best way to get them to do it. Like all these parents say, can you get my child to chant Hare Krishna? And so I go up to the child and I say, don't chant Hare Krishna. You don't want to chant Hare Krishna. I don't think you should do it. They're like looking at me like, what are you doing? I'm saying, if I tell him not to do it, he's going to want to do it, right? Isn't that how it works? You ever tell him don't do this, immediately he does it? Well, let's try it with chanting. I want to check out Tiny Tim just to see if what I remember is that he used humor, like very funny in music, which we're trying to, delve more into the humorous side of Krishna consciousness. Simple for the simple, complicated for the complicated. What's your relationship? Are you married? Are you single? Divorced? It's complicated. Yeah. Life can be complicated. How's your relationship going? It's complicated. How's your relationship with Krishna? It's complicated. So simple you can miss it. That is a good t-shirt. It'd be Krishna consciousness is so simple you can miss it. See, these t-shirts, we have two styles of t-shirts. One really only devotees would understand, and it's just to remind the devotees of things in our philosophy. And the other would be for people who aren't devotees, things that would stimulate them to maybe talk to us or think. Thinking is good, Some people need to think more about things. Scroll up. I had posted as a comment. What? If I missed a comment, Zora, can you write it again? Sometimes the fault you supposedly see in others is actually one of your own. Yeah. What do they say? He who spots it, he who spots it, guts it. No, that doesn't mean. Well, if you spot it, you got it. That's a saying. I mean, not entirely 100% of the time. If you spot it, you got it. Okay, so Krishna Karshani, if you can do this, Krishna Priya is gonna, if you can note, she's gonna go through all the mantras for this class. And so you can make a little Excel sheet or something. Who's gonna watch which mantra? I watch Wisdom of the Sages almost daily, but now he's changed his weekend classes time to 8. So I have to miss them. Well, I'm thinking of maybe not doing classes on the weekends because I am so busy and I need... The way I get things done is I just get up early and I work all morning. And I get like 10 times more done. And when doing these classes, I have to prepare and this and that. So as long as we're in lockdown, Do I have your permission not to do class on Saturday and Sunday? Will anybody just cry all Saturday and Sunday if we don't? Because of course today's Friday. We have to make our decision soon. Let me know if I have your permission. You see, we have class Saturday at 5. That's not good for everybody. We have class Saturday at 5. We're going to have class Kirtan tomorrow at 10:30. We're going to have a Kirtan. Radhapriya doesn't know that, but and I'm always being invited, do something somewhere. So it's a lot of it's, I can just program it on the weekends. When people say, will you give a class? I'll go, yeah, weekend. And then at least it gives me the morning free. And then I don't have second classes in the weekdays. I have so much to do. Do I have your permission? Could we just have classes Monday through Friday? And then you could all watch Wisdom of the Sages on Saturday and Sunday at the same time. And then we would announce other classes. That would help me tremendously. I'm so backlogged. I don't know how I'm going to get to everything unless I stop sleeping. Kamini is transcribing a few classes. Okay, so coordinate. That would be good. Tatyana thinking about doing what? Tatyana's doing videos. Raghunath is pretty wacky, but has his straight man. Kostuba. I don't have a straight man. I have to be both serious and wacky. Using your guitar as a rectifier, you posted about listening to our inner voice. Using your guilt as a rectifier, you posted about, I made a post, turn up the volume post, yeah. Yeah, so turn up the guilt a little bit, so at least you hear it. Have you ever heard that little voice? Oh, here's what I said. Have you ever heard that little voice of wisdom faintly speaking to you, but you turned down the volume because you didn't like what it was saying? Often, the more something is true, the more something is true, the less we like to hear it. So when Krishna is telling us from within to do something we don't want to do, or when he is telling us to stop doing something we're attached to do, what should we do? Yeah. And the answer is, turn up the volume. Hare Krishna. Yeah, that's a good one. When Krishna speaks to you, as another t-shirt, huh? When Krishna speaks to you from within, turn up the volume. When Krishna is trying to tell you something from within, turn up the volume. If there's no sincerity is exhibited, then what? Oh, if you have no sincerity, then what? Nothing what? There's no future in bhakti without sincerity. Sincerity is everything. And sincerity is essential. And if you don't have sincerity, then pray for it. Beg for it. Steal it. Get it somehow or other. Find out how to get it. Do they sell sincerity at Walmart? No, they don't. You have to find it within you. I need to take some time. I'm not. So I have your permission. Krishna, no permission. You're going to have to watch Raghunath. And she'll watch him and go, oh yeah, he's nice, but he's not you. We will cry. Cry, cry. Well, Saturday at 5 we have class. Saturday at 5. All right, so let's try it out. Let's just see how it works tomorrow, okay? Might have to change the whole schedule. But after the lockdown, then I think I'll just go back to Saturday and Sunday classes. Anyway, we'll talk about that. When the world is delocked. Unlocked. Unlocked is the word. Okay. So Satsarupa Priya sent you something. Satyarupa. Okay, let's do an experiment. Tomorrow, no class. And tomorrow only at 5, and then Sunday, I don't think there's anything. Whatever there is, I'll post. And we'll see what happens. We'll see if you're still alive. And we'll see if we lost all of you. I know that in the past, when I gave up doing weekly classes every week, I lost people. We'd have a big crowd, and then a few weeks later, they'd like nowhere. So, and this all gives you more time to whatever you have to do. Go right on Saturday morning. This time, put on Wisdom of the Stages and clean your house. Your house needs to be clean. We all need to clean, so that'll be good. Okay. All right, so we'll do an experiment. We'll see what happens, and then if we really don't like it, if we're really feeling separation, then we'll see. But it may be a temporary thing. I just need a little time. I desperately need time. You have no idea what is on my list of things that I don't have time to do list. It's insane. And I have to get through that list, then things will be normal. So, okay, so you now, tomorrow at 8 o'clock, you can go to Wisdom of the Sages. They speak nice philosophy also. I've spoiled you, yeah. What do we have to miss? Let's try it. Let me just, give me a break. Let me try it and see what happens. And then you'll have to wait till, it's going to be what, your time coming, like 11 p.m. or something on Saturday, yeah. Now let's try it. Just give me, maybe this is a temporary thing. I'll get my work done in the next 2 days. There's just things people are waiting for me to do, and they're like, why isn't he doing it? And I mean, these are things that are like should be done yesterday that I've had for like 6 weeks. Then there's just like, I need the early morning to just like worlds off, focus. It's so hard during the day because everything's moving. So thank you for that. And check out Wisdom of the Sages. And you can make a comment on Raghunath's show and say, Raghunath, you're really good. You're almost as funny as Mahatma Prabhu. I don't know. He may be more funny. Okay. But he's a good actor. Okay. Hare Krishna to all of you. We'll see you. We'll see you tomorrow at 10:30. There's going to be a kirtan. And then 5 o'clock, there's going to be class on the 10 habits of highly ineffective people. I'm not sure what the next habit is. We're on number 5. Okay, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Oh yeah, their classes are 5 a.m. every day, but Saturday and Sunday at 8. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. We'll see you all soon. Be good and don't do anything I would do.